Could you please comment on current Zoroastrian practices of gender equality? This is from the Mirzas to everyone. Well, the habits you are brought up with are very hard to overcome. Gender equality in the United States, I think, is far more advanced than gender amongst Zoroastrians than gender equality perhaps in India. But I left India when I was 16 years old to come to college, and except for very brief trips back, I have not really lived in India. So my knowledge of India is antiquated. It's not current. My knowledge of the Zoroastrian community in India is antiquated. So I don't really know how to answer that question other than to say, I am really, really happy to see what an emphasis American Zoroastrians place on gender equality and how sincere so many of the guys are in advancing gender equality, because women cannot do it alone. We have to do it together. Men and women have to understand what is the right thing to do. If gender equality in a given situation is the right thing to do, we should do it. And I really love the way the American community is evolving towards principles of gender equality. There is one area in which I don't think we have yet made it, and that is the Menses, which the first text that mentions that as an impurity, a spiritual impurity, is the Vendidad, which was written long after Avestan times. We know that because the grammar of the Vendidad and the vocabulary is flawed, deeply flawed. And you don't have to take my word for it. That is what professional linguists say. So if you figure, if Zarathustra's date, as I think, was 1700 BCE, roughly, and if the Vendidad was written after the fall of the Achaemenian Empire, which is what Professor Hintze thinks, you can see that more than 1,000 years, for more than 1,000 years, this whole business of Menses was not a part of our religion. In the Gathas, there is nothing about physical impurity being spiritual impurity. The only impurity in the Gathas is spiritual impurity, harming, hurting, destroying, cruelty, violence, fury, tyranny, bondage. These are the spiritual impurities of the Gathas. Let's see now. The Kurds seem to be a society that are very gender equal when it comes to societies. They also seem less influenced by Islam. Do you think this is another indication that they were originally Zoroastrian and kept those transitions in any other society that have kept gender equality that you know of? You know, I really love what the Kurds are doing. I don't know enough about them to know whether and to what extent gender equality was a part of their belief system, because until quite recently, Kurds had to hide their Zoroastrian identity. Islam did not tolerate deviations, and it was not safe for Kurds to openly express or live their beliefs. So I really don't know, but I do know that there are some fabulous stone inscriptions in Kurdistan that are very Zoroastrian. And I believe that the Kurds originally, when they were part of the Achaemenian Empire, a lot of Kurds may well have been Zoroastrians. In those days, they could express it openly. But after the advent of Islam, I don't think they were able to, so I cannot give you a better answer. Zarathustra is engrossed in the spiritual aspects of his religion, which is solely a concept of the mind. It has nothing to do with the rest of the body, which does have gender inequality, as physically they are different, and rightly so. That is where the concept of soul as the connection between Menog and Getig became related. But the issue of gender equality is not correct to extrapolate to the rest of the physical body. Your friendly neighborhood Firdosh. Firdosh has for many years taught Zoroastrianism, and he has been a friend of mine for many, many years. So I think we benefit by his insight, and thank you, Firdosh. Thank you for the great reminder of how Zarathustra's teachings in social justice and gender equality are still extremely relevant. There are specific examples you can share with the current generation implementing these teachings to address our societal challenges today. That is from Tritipur Barhani. I agree. I recently read, as I briefly mentioned, the last issue of Jaranama, that's the CZC journal, and I was so impressed at the young Zoroastrians who wrote on gender equality in that issue. Their courage, their integrity, their clear-sightedness. That is a perfect example of what Zarathustra teaches us to be. We need to speak out. We need to live our beliefs. It's not enough to say them. We need to live them. Dina, the extant Gathas is generally accepted to be Zarathustra's own words. Are there any other parts of Avesta that are Zarathustra's own words, teachings? That's a good question. The Ashem Bahu and the Yatha Ahovairyo prayers generally are believed to be Zarathustra's own words. And I agree, because they have the same style, the same multi-dimensional style that Zarathustra has in the Gathas. Yasna 54.1, which is the it's the Aryema issue, I'm pretty sure. That, Soli is nodding his head yes. Thank you, Soli. Tharapurvala thought that that was supposed to be the last verse of the last Gatha. He says it's in the same meter as the Vahishtvishti Gatha, and he thinks that was the concluding verse of the Gathas. Other scholars don't agree. I don't know whether it was or was not. What Tharapurvala says makes sense. It fits as a concluding verse of the last Gatha. But regardless, it is a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful verse. May the dear community of the men and women of Zarathustra, may the dear community come to the assistance of the men and women of Zarathustra. I can't remember. I'm sorry. There was a time when my memory was much better, but at 80, I'm beginning to not be as good in remembering. But if any of you are interested in the Aryema issue, I don't know if I've already uploaded it, but in part 6 of my website, there are selected translations, and the Aryema issue is one of them. I can't remember whether I've already uploaded it or whether I have to yet. It's written, I just haven't uploaded it. I don't, to finish answering, I don't know of any other part of the Avesta that are Zarathustra's own words. The Yasna Haptang Haiti has some very beautiful things in it, very close to his teachings, but I don't think they are, well, I don't know, but they are not believed to be his own words. Gatha, which are Zarathustra's words, speak a lot about those who spread the word, you're right, and how that is important. Does Gatha speak of religious conversion specifically to Zoroastrianism? It does. There are numerous verses in which Zarathustra expresses the idea that he wants everyone to follow wisdom's path, what he calls the paths of truth, the paths of good thinking. If you're interested, in part 1 of my website, there is a chapter called, I think, Zarathustra, the universality of Zarathustra's teachings, or a teaching for all mankind, something like that. And there's also a very close thing that I wrote on the CZC website on that. So you can get all the quotations from the Gathas and the later texts about it. It's up to you. Let's see. Gangaji mentions in his Korde Avesta that Yatha and Hashem are by Ahura Mazda, and Yenge Hatam by Zarathustra. With respect solely, I don't think that's accurate. The Yenge Hatam is in archaic Younger Avestan. In other words, you have the oldest form of Avestan is what the Gathas and the Yasna Haptang Haiti and a few others are written in. Then come most of the other Avestan texts are in Younger Avestan, which is a later form of the language. The Yenge Hatam is in an archaic form of Younger Avestan, a form which did not exist when Zarathustra was alive. And as far as the Yatha and Hashem are concerned, if you read them, I think you will see these are teachings by Zarathustra. They are like little nuggets of wisdom on which we should meditate. They are not written as though Ahura Mazda is speaking, which if, besides, how would we know if what Ahura Mazda is speaking, even when he speaks to us, it is through our minds and our perceptions. So, with respect, I do not think that that is accurate. Sorry, Soli. Okay. You're right. Karishma and Jaru say, Yenge Hatam has tascha tauscha, men and women. Well, yes and no, but the Yenge Hatam is a beautiful prayer. I love it. But it's multi-dimensioned and it is hard. It is susceptible of many interpretations, one of which is that the masculine and feminine genders of the pronouns refer to men and women. But there are other interpretations, and it could be multidimensional. It doesn't have to be one or the other, but it's a very beautiful prayer. This is Firdosh again. As recently pointed out by Ervat Zoli Dastur, the Hashem and Ahunavar are pre-Zarathustra in age and sacred verses of the Creator. Does this fit the view of Gothic teachings? I think I've already answered that, right? Good, okay. From Soli. Yenge Hatam is a paraphrase of Zarathustra's Vahukshetra 5122. Younger Hakam is generally believed to have been patterned after Yasna 5122, which also is a very beautiful Yasna. Verse, sorry. I don't know what else I can say that I haven't said already. What is your website? Okay, it's https://gathasofzarathustra.com. And Gathas of Zarathustra is all in one. In the Yengi Hatam, we say that we revere both men and women who do righteous deeds. At yesterday's Paiti Vaungho.
I'm sorry, Dina. Can I ask you for your website again? Is
Yes, it's https.
PS.
P as in Paul.
Hold on for just a second.
I beg your pardon?
https://
Gathas of Zarathustra, all is one word, .com.
Okay, I'm going to send this to everybody so they can see.
Okay.
Thank you. And I sent your email address to everyone.
Thank you. Naveed just sent my website to everyone. So
yes.
Okay.
Already sent them.
Oh, did I send it privately? Sorry.
Okay. So the next question is, do we know who else contributed to the Avesta? Well, that is an interesting question. The Pahlavi texts generally identify the author. The Avestan texts generally do not. And I rather like that. It reflects a lack of ego, and I don't know, I just kind of like it. But we don't know the names other than Zarathustra, and even he didn't say, by Zarathustra, for the Gathas. Professor Martin Schwartz has some really interesting insights based on the composition of the Gathas. He thinks it can be established that Zarathustra was the author, that Zarathustra kind of subtly put it in there, which I was quite impressed by when I read. It is a little difficult for me, but I thought it was worthwhile. But there is Avestan text authors do not normally say written by so-and-so or anything like that. Okay, let's see. Aryama issue. We seek the companionship of righteous men and women of Zarathustra, for my delight is a reward. Well, Karishma and Jaru, that is one translation, but there is more. Manas, can I pull up a document on my computer? Would that interfere with the Zoom meeting?
I'm sorry, tell me again.
I'll tell you what, never mind, don't worry. Email.
I'm sorry, no, tell me, that's okay, tell me. Because I was trying to share your quote, but when you share your quote, your picture goes down. I mean, you can see just a little bit of people. I'm sending your email address to everybody, so everybody can ask if they want to have your speech and your quotation.
So a translation of the Aryama issue, email me, I'll send it to you.
But I still can show everybody all the quotation that you shared with me. I still can show it to everybody if you want me to.
Well, if you email me for a copy of my talk, you'll have them all. So is that okay?
I'm sorry, tell me again.
If anyone wants to see them, they can email me, and I'll send them a PDF of my talk.
Yes.
And they'll have them all. Is that okay?
Yes, definitely. That works wonderful.
Okay. So let's see. Why did Zarathustra stand out from other contributors? Oh, I think I missed. Things are going so fast that, okay. In reading the Gathas, I have been impressed that Zarathustra mainly teaches a way of life, one of good conscience. He does not seem to seek the creation of an organized religion. What are your thoughts on this? Well, my thought is that Zarathustra expresses a spiritual philosophy. But as time progresses, the adherents tend to institutionalize the religion, and that's when you get a religious hierarchy. So I agree that Zarathustra teaches a way of life, but he provides a framework for looking at existence that is really, really beautiful. And that's one of the things I'm hoping to show you bit by bit by bit in these sessions, because they have largely been influenced by other religious paradigms and other ideas that are not consistent with the Gathas. Let's see. Are you going to send us a recording of this talk? There is another Zoom call from the Houston Center for Religious Teachers teaching our religion virtually. So I will sign off for now as the call starts at 6 p.m. So can you please send us a recording? I do not have a recording, but I understand CZC may be recording.
Yes, we are recording it.
And they may put it on their website.
Yes.
Okay. And do we know what is the oldest text and when it was written? So far as I'm aware, I think there is general agreement that the Gathas are the oldest text. The Yasna Haiti is written in Gothic Avestan, or what linguists call Old Avestan, as are some other texts. But I think the Gathas, the Hashem Vahu, and the Yatha Ahuvaryo, the Ahunavar, are the oldest texts that we have. It's okay, Firdosh, I know you've got to leave. He says, sorry, Dina, I have to leave for another Zoom meeting. Thanks a lot, God bless, live long, prosper, be my Rathu forever. Firdosh, don't lay that on me, I'm just one of a number. Thanks to CZC and Artemis for sharing this program. Thank you for a very interesting talk. See you next time. Please send us time and date for the next one. It's the second Saturday of every month for the next 7 months at least. And it's at the same time as today's. Dear Dina, I'm so grateful to you and your teachings. I've been a big follower of your writings. Blessings to you and your family. Thank you so much. I appreciate your kind words. Well, I think we're at 6:01. Should we close the meeting?
No,
I'd like
we
to
still have time. If anybody wants to talk,
well,
you want me to unmute everybody?
Arash is, I think, what is the topic of the next talk? Well, it's not that I want to shock you. I just want to tease you a little. The topic of the next talk is, who is God? And I think you missed comment of 556. 556. Oh, the Magi composed and introduced the Yash and Vendidad and other younger Avestan texts. That's a comment by Meher Yar to everyone. If the Magi were indeed the institutional priests of later Zoroastrianism, then they would have done so. The younger Avestan texts reflected a syncretization of some pre-existing and some post-Zarathustrian religions into the Zoroastrian religion. I don't think it was like one of our mergers and acquisitions today. I think it may have been that Zarathustra does not, in the Gathas, he does not prescribe any rituals, and people being social beasts, for weddings, for birthdays, for deaths, funerals, we're a social animal, and we need the social aspects of a religion. I hate to use the word social, but we need the getting together aspects of a religion to satisfy some of our spiritual needs. And since in the Gathas no rituals are prescribed, I speculate, I don't know for sure, I speculate that the existing pre-Zarathustrian and post-Zarathustrian religions, their priests said, who, Arama said, oh yeah, we can do that ritual, it's fine. And that is how, you know, the syncretization came about. I don't think our priests and those priests got together and said, okay, let's combine type thing. But I'm just speculating. I think, let's see. Yes, I think that's all the questions we have. So I will thank you. Thank you very much. It was lovely to see all of your beautiful faces and so many old friends whom I haven't seen and spoken to for a long, long time. Thank you, and I'll see you next month. Maybe.
Thank you very much, Dina. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Professor McIntyre.
Thank you, Dina.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dina.
See you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dina. That
You're
was
welcome.
appreciate.
See you again. Listening to you, Dina. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Dina. From Arzu, Shabahram, and Omid. Miss you a lot.
Thank you.
Yes, great seeing you.
How is Omid?
Look forward. Omid is doing great. Yes.
Good. Give him my
in
love.
college already.
And please say hello to Shabaram.
Absolutely, absolutely. They both say hello, and they've been listening and enjoying too.
Thank you so much. Take care, Arzu.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Hi,
Thanks a lot. It was a great talk. Thank you.
Thank you, Dina. That
Bye.
was so
Thank
nice.
you very much. Bye.
Thank you for sharing.
Right, you're going to give me a fat head if you keep telling me how much you enjoyed it, but thank you. I appreciate your kind words.
Thank you, Dina. It was so nice to see you after such a long time.
Dariush, it's always good to see you. Thank you.
This is Soli.
I remember well that trip to Venezuela. That was quite an adventure. So, and thank you for making that possible.
That was actually Herman Solidas too, who was talking to you.
Beg pardon?
That was actually Soli.